So hello, everybody. Welcome to our Mysteries of the Library Revealed Thoreau webinar. My name is Kim Burton. I am one of the instruction and reference librarians here at Walden. And with me is Tracy Yvette Hector, who is also an instruction and reference librarian here at Walden. And we have our cameras on just to say hello, to let you know that we are real people. But sometimes the video can interfere with the broadcast. So we're just going to turn those off and we'll just be talking with you tonight. Okay, so before I get started, I just want to do a little housekeeping. This is the GoToWebinar toolbox or control pod. If you don't see this box here, look for an arrow like this and click on it, and it should expand to look like this. This is how you can ask us questions during the webinar in the questions box. Just so you know that we have a lot to cover tonight. So we're just going to be answering questions that are about Thoreau. We'll probably just refer you to the Ask a Librarian link if your questions are off topic. The PowerPoint presentation that we are using tonight is in the handout section right here. You can just click on that to open it. Sometimes if it doesn't open, it goes into your downloads. So if you're clicking on it, nothing is happening, just go into your downloads folder. It might be in there a few times. And the reason I recommend downloading the PowerPoint is because we have a lot of links that we put in here, so you'll have access to all of those links. This webinar is, we do have a captionist for this webinar, and this is the link for the closed captioning. I also put it in the chat, so you can just copy it and paste it into your browser. And finally, I am recording this webinar. So all of you are going to get a copy of this recording in about a day or two. That is going to come directly from GoToWebinar. It may also come from Susan Steckel, just so you're aware. It may show up in your spam. So if you're looking for this, you don't see it, look for something from GoToWebinar or Susan Steckel, who is one of the instruction librarians here at the library. Well, this is one of the Mysteries of the Library Revealed webinars, and this is a series that we do once a month on a library topic. We usually keep it nice and short, 30 minutes, and we try to let you know everything you can about this one in particular topic. We present them every third Monday of the month at 8:30 p.m. In Eastern Time. We have the webinars scheduled throughout the rest of the year. So our next one will be on November 19th on finding full text. So if you're ever in the library and you're looking for an article and you can only find the abstract, this would be the webinar that you should go to. And then in December, we're doing a Google Scholar one, which is a great mysteries webinar. It goes in, it shows you how you can use Google Scholar to enhance your searching. Really use it as a tool. So that's what's coming up in the Mysteries series. But tonight, we're talking about Thoreau. What is Thoreau? Well, Thoreau is a multi-database search tool developed for the Walden University Library. Nobody else has this. If you go any other library and you say, I want to use the database Thoreau, they're not going to know what you're talking about because it's just in Walden. And what it does is it searches much of the library's collection, but not everything. And the reason for this is that not all databases or all of the library content is available because of publishers' licensing and copyright restrictions. I kind of think of it as it does a broad search, but not a deep search. So you just want to keep that in mind when you are using Thoreau. And you can use it to find videos, articles, books, all different types of resources and all different levels of resources as well. It will find trade publications, reference materials such as encyclopedias or dictionary entries, but it will also bring back scholarly information, even peer-reviewed articles as well. And it will also bring back information from many different subject areas. The Walden Library has a bunch of databases that we have curated to support you and to support all the programs that we have in Walden. So if you're looking for something specific in education or business or the social sciences, you may want to go and look in those databases individually. But sometimes one field will overflow into another. And you might not realize there could be other areas you might want to look into. So if you're in education, when you're doing something with distance education, there's overflow into technology. You might want to look at some of those technology databases. So Thoreau is a great place to go to see what other databases you may want to look at. Now, when I talk about subject-specific databases, I want to show you where you can go to find them. These are the databases that we've curated and put together for you to support the programs, no matter what program you're in. If you go to the library website, go to the subject resources box in the middle of the page and click on select a subject. And here we have all our different programs. So if you're in nursing, you can just click on the nursing and you're going to find all your subject-specific databases right in here. If you are in education, same thing. And here are those subject-specific databases that you're going to want to look at. But as I mentioned, you just don't want to rely on those solely, because a lot of times things overflow and you want to be comprehensive and search everywhere. So searching Thoreau is a great place to find what other subject areas may have information on your topic. And so this brings up the question of, so Tracy, when should you use Thoreau and when should you not?
Well, I'm going to show my screen and we're going to look at the pros and cons of using Thoreau. Me too. Okay, when should you use Thoreau? Well, Thoreau can be perfect for most undergraduate research because you're often looking for the big picture perspective, or sort of like a big picture application of your topic to the field at large. And it can also be useful for graduate research. The scope of the different assignments that you're going to have is going to vary, but Thoreau can be useful for those assignments, discussions, or those smaller papers where you're sort of asked to explore the broader perspective of a topic. So you'll also want to remember that the library homepage Kim just showed you, where you can select a field like business or education or nursing and see the databases that are recommended for that field. So Thoreau would be good for a topic like nursing management, because that fits under more than one of those fields. And it's also good for those topics that really don't have a corresponding program. So if you're looking for articles on scholarly writing, for example, education might have some great resources on that topic, but Thoreau would probably be your best bet. Thoreau is also good if you get very few results in a subject-specific database. So all of us librarians have that issue sometimes. Students have that issue sometimes. Sometimes the topic's just going to be covered more broadly in the general literature, so that those articles would be sufficient to support your paper, a point that you're trying to cover in your paper, but maybe not so in depth that they're going to be included in those subject-specific collections. So Thoreau would be a good option in that case. And finally, you can do a general exploratory search in Thoreau. That's to give you an idea of where research might be published, whether you're talking about individual journals or databases. So what is an exploratory search? Well, have you ever come up with this really specific, amazing topic and you're energized and you're all pumped up, but then when you start to look for articles, everything sort of falls apart? Well, when you come up, when you come up with a really specific topic first, and then you're trying to then go and find the literature to support it, it can be very challenging. So because you're dependent on what's already out there in the existing literature, it just helps you to sort of make sure that that topic is covered. So when should you not use Thoreau? Well, we've talked about the pros. It's sort of a pros and cons sort of thing. So for example, doctoral capstone students who are working on their dissertations or their project studies, they should really be using the databases that are most relevant to their topic, especially those subject-specific databases that Kim talked about. So this isn't really about Thoreau being multidisciplinary, because there are several multidisciplinary databases that will provide capstone students with really fantastic articles. The reason is because Thoreau isn't a database, but a search tool, and it doesn't really exist outside of Walden. When you're a capstone student, you'll need to write about your research strategies in terms of specific individual databases. But keeping that in mind, students can use Thoreau as this great jumping off point. So for example, if you have those topics where you're really not quite sure of what synonyms or related terms that you can use for keywords, some authors might use various terms when talking about the same concept. You can use Thoreau to get an idea of potential subject terms and the common terminology. You can also use it to get an idea of which databases are more likely to contain relevant resources. So, for example, in Thoreau, each article will show you the individual database that it originates from. So we'll show you that in just a moment. But the search results pages also have a databases section that shows you the originating databases for the overall search results. So for example, if you have 300 search results and 280 of those come from the PsycInfo database, then that might prompt you to then conduct your search in PsycInfo. Another situation where Thoreau should really not be used is when your topic is very, very broad and easily aligns with a primary subject or field. So, for example, if you're looking for articles on something like challenges in nursing, if you go in Thoreau, you may come up with tens of thousands of articles that mention nursing somewhere in there, but really have nothing to do with challenges in nursing. So you'd want to go through the steps Kim showed you of going to the home page and selecting the subject of nursing to get to those databases. You'll see the databases specifically recommended for nursing there, so your results are going to be far more relevant and much more manageable. So next, we want to talk about how to access Thoreau. Excuse me, there are several ways to access Thoreau from the library website, and you'll notice that there's a big search box right at the top of the library homepage, and this is the best place to start your Thoreau search because you can type in your word or phrase right into that box, click on the icon or press enter, and immediately be taken into a Thoreau search. We also have the advanced search link right under that search box. You can use that to go into, excuse me, an advanced search in Thoreau. You'll get the 3 search boxes like you see in the other EBSCO databases. And you also have a few other places. You can go into the databases A through Z. When you click on that button, you can actually choose alphabetically the letter T for Thoreau and go right into that database. And in the top menu on the webpage, you'll see Start Your Research. If you click on that top menu selection, or if you go into the More Resources button that's on the webpage, they'll both take you to the same place, and it gives you some options like Google Scholar, Thoreau, and some other places like ScholarWorks where you can get a few additional resources to use for your research. Also, you can get to Thoreau whenever you're searching our quick answers. So you'll notice that next to Thoreau, there's a radio option that says Search Everything. That's in blue in this screenshot here. And Search Everything searches our quick answers, which are sort of like commonly asked questions, frequently asked questions. And you'll see search results for Thoreau right in that section. So Kim, do you have a favorite way to get to Thoreau?
I do. I like just going into search articles, books, media, and more, and doing my search right from there. So what I'm going to do, I'll share my screen, and then I can show you how I do that. Alrighty, so can you guys see my screen?
Perfect.
Yes, okay. So as Tracy said, if right here on the library website, you can type in your topic or keyword and it'll launch a Thoreau search for you. You know, we have Thoreau accessible in so many different areas. We want you to be able to find this tool to help you search the databases. So one of the quickest ways I think is this big search box. I'm going to take a topic and do a simple search for you. My topic is effective communication, because that is a very broad and very general topic. It can be applicable in many different disciplines. So let's just go in here and type in effective communication, and then I'll hit my little magnifying, whoop, ta-da, okay. And this is going to bring us into Thoreau. Now, this may look familiar. We use EBSCO Discovery Service to run this search engine, Thoreau. So a lot of people, when they see this, they think that Thoreau is a database from EBSCO, but it's not. Remember, this is just at Walden University, right up there. EBSCO just helps us run it. So what Thoreau is doing is just searching all of our little, well, not all, but most of our databases for information on effective communication. And it's going to bring back a lot of information, over 65,000 resources. Let's see, we can go down. One thing we can do is look at the icon in front of the item to see what it is. So we see here we have a book. We could scroll down. This is an article in an academic journal. And you can also see that it brings back video recordings. If you want to get a more detailed, some more detailed information from your results, you can just actually click on the title. That's not going to open up the article. It's going to open up a detailed record where you can get in and access the description or the abstract, so you can read about it and see what this item is about and if it is appropriate for your purposes. If you want to access any of these results, you have to look for a couple of things. One thing would be a PDF link. Clicking on this will open up the item in a PDF. There we go. An HTML full text will also open up the item in HTML. So here you go. Another thing you want to look for is the Find at Walden icon. This means that they found the item, but it's not in one of these. It's in a different database. It's not accessible by PDF directly through Thoreau. So what we can do is, I like to right click on this and open it in a new window. And it's either going to open it up the article right away, or it's going to bring me to the database that the article, well, this was the video, is located in. So now I'm in Alexander Street. I can click on Walden University and I'll be able to access that video recording. Now, this is a lot. There's over 65,000 results here. I need to narrow this down. So let's say I'm looking for something for a weekly assignment. I need something right away. So I want to make sure that it's full text so I can get access to it. So it's only going to bring back items that I have access to. But the instructions say that I need peer-reviewed scholarly journals. So I'm going to click on that to limit that just to those peer-reviewed scholarly journals. All right, so we lost about 20,000. The instructions also say I need current information, so things within the last 3 years. So I could just change this date to 2015 and hit return. And it's going to update to full text, peer-reviewed items published within the last 3 years. I mean, there's still a lot of them here, but at least I've been able to narrow it down a little bit. And that's really just a general, quick way to do a simple search in Thoreau. So I'm going to pass it back over to Tracy, and she's going to go ahead and show you how to do a more advanced search in Thoreau.
Right, and that was a really good example we talked about earlier. If there's something that doesn't easily align with an existing topic with the Walden programs, like effective communication, Thoreau's a great use for that. And another great use that we talked about was whenever you have something that doesn't easily fit into one of those subjects. So say, for example, we needed to find articles for our topic on diabetes and prisoners. Well, under select a subject, we could go under health sciences or nursing, But what about criminal justice for the prisoners aspect? Whenever you go into Thoreau, you're able to kind of search multiple subject specific databases at once. So let's go ahead and do that. My favorite way to get to Thoreau is actually using advanced search. So I'm going to click on the advanced search link right under that primary search box, and that'll take us right into the advanced search page in Thoreau. So I'll go ahead and log in. And whenever you have the 3 search boxes, you're on that advanced search page. So I'm going to go ahead and remember our topic is going to be on diabetes. And for the second box, we can put in prisoners. And whenever you're doing research, we mentioned this a little bit earlier in the presentation, when you're doing research, you want to think about the synonyms or related terms. You're trying to cover those various ways of wording a concept that different authors might use to reference that concept. So you can see here we can choose criminals, incarcerated. I'm going to go ahead and type in a few of these. Let's do inmates. Okay. And so now we have diabetes in one box, and then the different related terms that are related to that similar concept in the second. And I can just go ahead and click on search to begin that search. Now, right away, we can look through the search results and we can see that we have quite a few results. We have over 1,200 results, and these are going to cover those articles that touch on diabetes and prisoners. So whenever you're in the search results page, you still have the options that Kim pointed out on the left-hand side, the different ways to limit by subject, peer-reviewed, date, and so on. And you also have the option of changing the fields at the top next to your search boxes to sort of tell the database where you want the database to look for those terms. So let's say, for example, we wanted to make sure that these terms were kind of a primary topic in the articles that the search results were giving us. We could choose abstract, limiting both of those search boxes to AB abstract. What that's doing is it's telling the database, look, I want you to find articles that have diabetes, but diabetes has to occur in the abstract. And look, I also only want those articles that talk about diabetes and either prisoners or inmates or offenders or more than one of those. That also has to appear in the abstract. So that's a really neat way to try to look for articles that are more prevalent in the topic of the article. So it's not just a word mentioned somewhere in the full text. And we can go ahead and add another. Let's say that we wanted to focus on maybe racial aspects of the diabetic health of prisoners. We could I'll go ahead and put in a few different search terms. And I'll change that one to abstract too, because, hey, we want this to appear as kind of a primary subject. If it's going to touch on it in that abstract, then that's a really good way to try to ensure that it's going to be relevant in your search. If you could scroll down, and you can see that it brings up a really good search. And one thing to point out again, the database that these results are coming from are going to be shown in that detail snippet that's just below each result. So I can see that, for example, this first result comes from the Science Direct database. If I were a capstone student and was kind of doing my initial search here, this would tell me, hey, that's one of the databases that I can go and continue that search in.
So Tracy, I have a question. Why isn't Science Direct linked out? Because I see in the second result, it looks like you can just click on the PsycInfo database to go to the PsycInfo database.
Right. This one is clickable, and it's really neat because it not only takes you into the PsycInfo database, but it actually runs that search. So if I were to click
Oh,
on that, it would actually search PsycInfo for the search terms and the limiters that I used here. So that can be really, really helpful, especially for those capstone
yeah.
students that need to go in depth. Um, I'm not quite sure, but I would guess that the primary reason that some are linked and some aren't is because our EBSCO databases, PsycInfo is an EBSCO database, Academic Search Complete is an EBSCO database. Different vendors work differently with Thoreau and with the platforms that we use for discovery of these journals. And Science Direct is one of those where its vendor just uses a different way to connect. But you can still get to Science Direct or any other database that isn't linked in here. We can go to, here's the library homepage, and we can click on databases A through Z. If you click that button, you can then choose something like Thoreau under T, or go to S for Science Direct and go directly into the database that way.
Great.
If anyone has any questions on the searches that we've done or other questions that you have about Thoreau, please be sure to type them in the questions box and we'll definitely get to those.
We're okay right now. All right, so I am going to show my screen. And we're at the last screen. We just want to talk a little bit about if you have questions, where you can go to get answers to those questions, and where you can go if you need some help. So we want to show you the quick answers and Ask a Librarian, and also the live and recorded webinars, including the archived and upcoming mysteries sessions. So from the library homepage, this banner is always across the top of every page in the library. If you click on Ask a Librarian, it'll bring you to this Ask a Librarian page where you have options to either email us, you can chat with us, you can call us. We answer emails 7 days a week. We usually have a 24-hour turnaround. I mean, usually it's a lot faster than 24 hours, but we say that because in case of a holiday and the library is closed. If you want to chat with us, you can just click on chat, and when chat is live, this button is lit up like that. But we also have each day highlighted so you can see what hours chat is open. So you can go in here, type in your questions, and send it to us and talk immediately with a librarian. We also have quick answers, which are frequently asked questions at the library. So if you have a question, probably someone else has that question as well. And this is one way to access it. Tracy showed us another way to access it from the main library page by clicking on Search Everything and then clicking in here, like if I type in Thoreau and hit search, because I didn't finish spelling it.
Sure.
Okay, you can see that it found, here are quick answers. We have a quick answer on what is Thoreau, and it talks a little bit about what it is. We have how do I search Thoreau. So if you forgot anything that we talked about, you can always search for Thoreau and look it up here. And we also, in the first column, have links to library guides and things on the library website to help you with these topics. So you can even click here on how to search Thoreau to get to the library guide on Thoreau. Now, somebody asked a question about, because they had joined a little late, and this webinar is being recorded, and you will receive a copy of this recording in about a day or two. Another question that we have is, can you search by your course? So if you go to the library website, you can search for courses, but it's not really involved with Thoreau. We do have a link to course guides. You can click on this, and all the courses in there that the library has access to, any reading materials that are required, you'll be able to access them through this big course guides button. The last thing I want to show you is where to find the Mysteries of the Webinars archive sessions and upcoming sessions. If we go over here to this top banner and click on Get Help, Under webinars, there's upcoming and also recorded webinars. So let's look at the recorded webinars first. If we go under library skills, you'll see all of the mysteries of the library recordings are here. So we have a little introduction about what the Mysteries of the Library Revealed series is, and you can go through here to look for the topic that you're interested in, how to use Google Scholar, what are search alerts, and I'll bring you to that mysteries webinar. If we go back to Get Help and look up the upcoming webinars, we get a list of the upcoming webinars. It usually goes out a couple weeks. This one actually goes all the way out since it doesn't seem to be that as many, I guess, webinars coming up, but it does have next month's webinar in there. If not, you can always click on View All Upcoming Library Webinars in order to register for any of the upcoming Mysteries of the Library or any other webinars that are coming up.
And even,
mhm.
I was going to add, even if you can't attend the webinar, if you're not sure that you can attend, go ahead and register, because you'll get an email whenever the recording is sent to those attendees. So if you're not sure, register either way, because you'll have access to that recording.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And someone did ask a question about accessing Thoreau, if you have to be connected with your account. Yes, you do, because it is a search tool that's searching our databases. So since you do have to log in to access our databases, you would as well with Thoreau. I don't know if you were here before, but when I first went in here and looked up effective communication, instead of bringing me to Thoreau, it brought me to the login. So I had to log in with my username, my email, and my password before it allowed me to get to this stage to get actual resources from the library. All right, well this is the end of our session. So thank everybody for coming. We hope to see you at some future mystery session or at any of our upcoming webinars.
Thank you. Y'all have a great